Okay, peace, blessings, love and light. Amitafor, Amitafor, Amitafor. I don't know if you can hear me well enough. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I'm hoping that you can. And my voice is clear enough, and we can just have a talk about a talk. I'm just kind of having some coffee at the moment. This is my first time going live, I think, on YouTube. So I don't even know if it's playing or not. Let me try to see if I can find it. I hope that my voice is clear. I hope that my voice is clear. How awesome it is. I came on today because it is the time that we start to be a little more proactive when it comes to putting in act Buddhism, putting in act goodness, kindness, morality, and seeking better for ourselves. Because evil does not stop, decrepity does not take a break, moral decay does not wait for the perfect opportunity. We, the people of wanting to attain happiness, wanting to attain better for ourselves, we're too meager, we're too meek, we're too passive, and it's kind of disgusting. Stop making excuses with each other to not befriend or come up with a plan with each other to be in a better place, to come together to create a safer space. Stop waiting for the people who oppress us, the people who deny us to magically open their heart and give us what we need, or fund us for what we need, or to just be enlightened and become on the side of righteousness. We need to be very proactive with each other. We're all we got. We are all we got. 10 years as a Buddhist monk from just Buddhism only around Asia, Jumping here, jumping there, Thailand, Cambodia, Taiwan, here, Vietnam. And still for us in the West, we don't have much of a body that we can depend on, where we can live in a place where we can practice free from persecution, free from cultural restrictions and economic pressures. Too many of us from the West living in America, Australia, or England, we make temples and either they're absent of a monk or a nun. And you get a bunch of secularists thinking that they're better than the monk or nun, and they don't need the monk or nun. Or you find out that what you have is a monk or nun that lives in the temple, but because of financial demands, he is not allowed to give teachings like he wants to. He can't be free to the community because he has to worry about the light bill. He has to worry about the gas. He has to worry about the water, fines, paying the bills. So what you have is a monk or nun that is not having the proper funds. So he's like a monk custodian. He's like a manager of the temple, running here and there, running after money. Not because he wants to, it's because he's got to keep the lights on in the temple. That isn't today's topic, but I do want to give you some insights of what the frustration is. What the frustration. Now, another thing is I have a lot of love and compassion for the job that I'm doing. I'm making coffee, that's why it's noisy. So the topic today is definitely about, is it worth staying or leaving the environment we're in to improve ourselves and to be an example? That is today's topic. Is staying where we are beneficial for our practice, beneficial for our service of the Dharma, beneficial for our growth in letting go of our attachments, letting go of the things that are stumbling blocks for our increase of panya and wisdom? I had to leave my environment not because I had some hate or I had some type of disdain or running away. I wanted to see, is the world like they taught me in these schools? Is the world really like what it is shown on TV? Is the world as decadent, chaotic as they show me on the news? So I started to search out paths to see if this was the truth. If you are complacent and where you are right now, there is not going to be any change. We need to stop being complacent when there is chaos. How do you be complacent when if you park your car, they're going to bust the window out and take your belongings? How do you be complacent with that? You don't want to be somewhere where that's a non-factor. You don't want to be somewhere where you can be at peace, and that's not even something you have to think about in the morning. Don't you want to have the freedom just to be able to breathe, knowing that I feel safe and secure with my belongings, with my family, with my wealth, with my health? It's not promised, but having these factors in your mind, too many of us, and especially in America, you know what I'm talking about. It's like being there is like a opioid, like you're under the smoke cloud, or you are just underneath the drug of some type of opioid that makes you non-proactive to change your situation. Can't be. That coffee is strong, boy. Whew. Vietnamese coffee, no joke. We must do better for ourselves. The Buddha lives inside of us. You are the Buddha that you are looking for. You must bring the Buddha outside of you to show that it is real. You are the living example that the Buddha doctrine lives inside of. You are the living example. You are the living example of your liberation. Stop waiting for somebody to come out of the sky. Stop waiting for somebody to knock on the door. Bring it out of yourself. Our environment is extremely important when it comes to liberation, the application of our practice, the development and cultivation of mindfulness, the development of our moral obligations, the development of wisdom, the application of meditation. Your surroundings are important. And there's too many of us that have enough resources collectively where we can be together to practice this with this God-given skills that you have to become beautiful and better at being better. Becoming better versions of you. You don't want to become a better version of yourself? Why would you not want to be a better version of you? Of course you want better for yourselves. Of course you want to be a better you. Of course there is things that you want to see to be improved, but when you have a collective group of people who are also doing the same, the energy is different. The energy shift is felt. The compassion between each other, the fact that people notice will drive you to have more energy to change. When you have somebody who's near you, who's telling you, my brother, pick your head up and quit putting it on the ground. Sister, don't worry about that. You've done amazing. Look what you have created from where you have came from. Now, a lot of people make excuses. How many excuses are you going to make to have a better life for yourself? Stop making excuses for you to be your beautiful, authentic self. Stop making excuses. Excuses will never end. Take the steps necessary for you to be your authentic self so you can be in a place where you can realize, tangibly feel, tangibly encounter peace and be with it. It is going to be uncomfortable at first. I'm going to tell you that right now. When you encounter a level of comfort, tranquility, peace, and calmness in your life, guess what? It is going to be so uncomfortable because it's something that is rare. It's rare. We're on the bus, we're in the car, we're in the Uber, we're at work, we're at jobs, we're at school, we're dealing with our parents, we're dealing with our job, we're dealing with the boss, we're dealing with people we don't like, we do like, we're not sure if we like. And how often do you have time to be with your authentic self? How often? And when you sit by yourself in the comfort of your own breath, you start to feel what? You start to feel uncomfortable. Because you realize the baggage that is on your back, how much of the burden and the weight of the world you have been carrying while you've been neglecting your own mind, your own solitude. Now, for those of us who are looking to do better, I don't know why. Is this because, this is my first time going on a YouTube, but maybe it's only being broadcasted in Vietnam, which is terrible. I don't want that to happen. I want it to be broadcasted everywhere. I don't know how this really works. But maybe it's only broadcasted in Vietnam, which is not what I want. I want to be broadcasted in my own country. I don't know how this really works yet. But continuing on is about our environments, is that if you were to take a seed from a tree that bears fruit and was to place that seed into a pile of what you think is dirt but is nothing but dry cement, it is not going to grow, it is not going to flourish, nor is it going to give fruit. And you can't blame the seed and you can't blame the cement. You blame the ignorance of your own inability to recognize the function and need of the object that you placed in the ground and the seed that you held in your palm. In order for the things that you need in your life to grow, you have to have the proper discernment to be able to realize what you have and what it needs. Then after you understand what you have and where you are, what you have in your hands, then you start to make the intentions for what you want to do with it. So you take the seed and you find dirt. What kind of seed is it? What kind of soil does it need? You plant it in the soil, then you water it, you make the intention, then you water it, you care for it, and you hope that this tree starts to germinate. It starts to grow properly so it can bear fruit. You nurture it and you take care of it. What do you think about your own consciousness? Some people call it the soul. Some people call it whatever. What do you think about your own spiritual insight? You think your spirit, you think your soul, you think your consciousness is going to grow inside the sewer? You think you become enlightened by sitting there taking what is fragile and throwing it in the middle of the pathway and think that someone's not going to step on it? What do you think about you taking all of your practice, all of your book reading, all of your yoga, all of your meditation practice? You went to Goenka, you went to the forest, and then what do? You take all of your practice and you throw it where it is going to be disrespected the most. Where people don't respect your message, they don't respect your practice. There is a story, especially about the Buddha, when he was talking about, there were some monks. Okay? There was a group of monks in the city of Kosambi. It was called Kosambi. And they're arguing over the Vinaya. They're arguing over the Vinaya or some rules of Vinaya or monasticism. A group of monks were sitting there arguing over monasticism. This is that, this is this. It's this way, it's not that way. And the Buddha came to him and told him, yo, this is not the path to liberation. You guys arguing, this is not the path to liberation. It doesn't free you from the kiresa. It doesn't free you from the ego. And he kept trying to tell these monks, and they weren't listening to him. So they still ignored him. The Buddha told them a couple times, they kept ignoring him. According to some texts, it was kind of like even one of the monks suggested, look, they disrespected the Buddha. They were like, look, let us handle this. We got this. We got this. We don't need your help. Go ahead and take a seat. We can do this by ourselves. And when the Buddha realized how rude that they were, the Buddha realized how rude and inconsiderate they were to the Buddha himself, so wrapped up in their own ego, arguing over text. The Buddha was like, okay, let me get up out of this. This is not somewhere that I could sit. He didn't sit there and argue with them. He didn't sit there and try to belittle them. He didn't sit there and try to pull rank on them. He said, okay, I'm going to leave you. I am going to leave you with what you think is better than my own words, and I am the Buddha. I am the enlightened one. He saw them arguing, bickering, fighting, and he said, okay, if you think that's going to help you, I'll leave you to it and I'll go somewhere else. So the Buddha walked away inside of a forest. Okay, he went inside of a little garden or forest and sat there and calmed his own mind, because that was more important, even amongst his own community, to guard and maintain his peace than to entertain the arrogant or the idiots. Because staying in his own character, staying his authentic self was more important. Maintaining his peace, his tranquility, his clear-minded was more important than to fight with fools. You know the Dhammapada. If there's two paths, One walking with the fool and walking by yourself, it is more virtuous to walk by yourself than to walk with the fool. Because the fool does not even know he doesn't even know he's an idiot. This is the Dhammapada. This is the Lord Buddha himself saying this for all of us to hear. And nowadays, what do you see? Monks walking with idiots. Monks walking with fake monks. Monks standing up and defending false and fake monks. You see monks running after people who got money that want to destroy the Dharma. They don't want to expand it, they want to destroy it. What happened to us being brave and standing up for the Dharma? Standing up for our lifestyles, standing up, well, that doesn't mean you're taking up arms. It means you stand up for peace and tranquility. What happened to that? The Buddha went into the forest, and while he was sitting there, contemplating on his own, he also realized that there was an elephant that had left the herd. There was an elephant that left the herd, and why was it? It was because, for some reason, the elephant felt that he also could not find his peace inside the herd. There's splashing water, making a bunch of noise, ripping the trees down, and there was another elephant that went in the forest to get away from it just to be in peace, and the elephant saw the Buddha. Saw the Buddha in his state of tranquility and calmness. And he was so intrigued by the Buddha by himself that he came over and to guard and protect the Buddha. As if anything was going to harm the Buddha, he came to sit and protect the Buddha in the garden while he was sitting there. He brought the Buddha water. He brought the Buddha fruit. He brought the Buddha some things that he thought that the Buddha might need to prolong his peace, because he recognized tranquility and peace. He didn't bring out no book. He didn't ask the scholar. He didn't talk to ChatGPT. He recognized because of his own practice, because of what the elephant had inside him was also inside the Buddha as well. Game recognized game. Game recognizes game. I recognize you because you are a part of me. I saw a piece of me inside you. The elephant saw the Buddha inside of himself. And out of humbleness and out of humility, it started to try to do as much as it could to help and protect the Lord Buddha. It didn't trample him. It didn't kind of gore him to death with its horns. Not at all. The elephants pushed the other elephant away, spraying water on him, making noisy, pushing it around. So I got a question. If those monks drove the Buddha away, if the monks pushed the Buddha away, don't you think the lay people also saw that? The people who are also around saw what was happening between the Buddha and the monks. So when those monks later on start to go on the alms round, they said, wait a minute, you guys were the ones who were pushing the Buddha away. How can I support you? And you have placed yourself over the top of the head of the Buddha. You have sat on the head of the Buddha. You put your foot on top of the Buddha. How I can support you? You push the Buddha away, and you're supposed to be a follower of the Buddha. So the slave people stopped giving them food. They stopped supporting the monks. And the monks came together and told their experience between one another that I went out to go on the alms round and people were complaining. The others start to say, yeah, me too. I went out the alms round. They said that we think that we're better than the Buddha. So they start to have they start to have that shock, that reality wake up. Maybe we did something incorrect. So they started to talk between each other. The monks started to talk between each other. You know what? I think that us arguing about frivolous, pointless things that don't mean much has caused us to be looked down on the community and in the eyes of the Buddha. And we need to samhoi, we need to make sincere repentance to the Buddha that we had ignored and pushed him away with our overzealous behavior, our ignorance. We pushed the Buddha away. And seek repentance to the Lord Buddha. They were very ashamed about their behavior. They didn't realize in the heat of the moment, the emotions, the debate, the talking, the testosterone, everything is just flaring up. You want to do right. You think you're on the right. So they did end up going back to the Buddha, but the lesson wasn't run away from problems. The Buddha wasn't running away from problems. The lesson wasn't run away from problems. The lesson was that if people refuse good advice and persist in conflict, you don't have to remain in the middle of it. You don't need to sit there as a mediator. Your piece is important first. Do not get dragged into these types of situations where it's going to jeopardize, take you out of character, and turn you who you do not want to be. This is the most important factor about what I want to tell you is that is your environment helping you with peace and tranquility? Your center, where you are trying to be. If it is not, you're going to have to make the decision to go where you are accepted, where you accept you to be accepted. Not according to somebody else, where you can find your balance, where you can find your peace. Doesn't mean you have to be there forever. It just means that you're going to have to make these exchanges. The Buddha left his loved ones. That's the first thing that you ever learn in Buddhism, is that the Buddha had to dip out on his family. The Buddha had to dip out on his family for enlightenment. But you don't want to get rid of your car. You don't want to get rid of your new PlayStation. You want to be comfortable, and comfort is the killer of cultivation. Being comfortable is the killer of cultivation. Buddha left his wife, he left his child, and jumped out the house. He was a king. He was a prince of a king. He had about over 600 concubines, wives, every type of food. He was like, man, bunk that. I'm done with this. I'm done with it. It's not helping me become a better person. It is diluting my mind. And nowadays, you don't want to stop listening to music. You don't want to put the weed down. You don't want to stop looking at the big booty girls on Instagram. You want to be a meditator, but you want to be a pole dancer at the same time. I want to meditate, but I still want to get drunk in the club. You have to fight these desires that you have inside your, these are delusions. You have to fight the delusions inside your mind. This is the importance that we have is morality. Sila, Panya, Samatha. That is called the three that we hold fast to. Sila, Panya, Samatha. Sila is your moral fortitude, your moral fortress. You need to understand what is the moral fortress. It is to become to the point that your mind does not use you as a tool to blame itself. Your actions so others cannot blame you. The epithet of the Buddha was the blameless. You are not adding to decrepity of society. You are not adding to the exasperation, the cravenous desires of the heart. You're not adding to lust. You're not adding to addiction. You're not adding to suicidal behavior. You're not adding to confusion. You're not adding to wanting and craving of something that will never end until the world is done. The Buddha jumped out his window, and it was said that if his son, Uruhala, would have woken up and looked at the Buddha while he was leaving, he would have broken down and turned around on his path and not left to be enlightened. He said that was his biggest fear, that his son would have woken up and saw him leaving and looked at him. So the Buddha sacrificed in many occasions what he loved, what he found difficult to part with multiple times. And here we are, being entertained by what is killing us, entertained by what is destroying us, entertained what is blocking us, entertained by what is short-lived, what is short-term happiness. We can do better than that. We will do better than that. And this is not the start. This is not the end. This is just the beginning of the movement of conscious discernment. I don't know how long I'll be in Vietnam for, but I hope that when I come back to America, you guys are ready to do something that is, that is going to be extraordinary, for us to be extraordinary people, to be courageously compassionate, to be bravely openly happy, to be violently in love with all beings, to be courageously soft where people see nothing but hardness. We will break through their hearts, even if they don't realize it. We will break through their hearts, we will break through their minds, we will give love and happiness to all beings. Okay, we will follow the path of the Buddha, the Bodhisattva, the Arahant, and those who are rightly guided. Namo Mong Su Tika Moni Phak, Amita Pho, Amita Pho, Amita Pho, Azidafat, Azidafat, Azidafat. If I have said anything that goes against the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, or the Bodhisattva, please disregard everything I said and follow the path that is inside of the books of the scholars, or the teachings of the Buddha, the books of the scholars, and those who are of revered lecture. That's all I have to say, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Blessed love. Blessed love, blessed love.